Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. We're going to be teaching live tonight, so thanks for joining me. Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat, and I'll be painting some brushes in a little glass jar. We're going to do it kind of impressionist style, so keeping it a little bit more simplified, but still realistic. So hope you stay tuned for this, and let's get started. I could feel the questions coming off of Mark right there. What the hell was that?
Where is she going? I am along for the ride.
Well, off script. All right. Oh my gosh.
Hey there, everybody. It's the heat.
Super glad to be painting with you tonight.
Yeah.
It'll be super fun. All right. I'm using a 9 by 12 inch canvas board. I have kind of pre-sketched, but very roughly. I did a really detailed sketch of the jar and then realized it was way too short. So then I just very quickly used chalk to kind of make it bigger, and we'll probably draw it in a little bit more detail, but we'll do the background first and then we'll draw it a little bit more carefully. So for brushes tonight, we're going to be using a 12 bright, an 8 flat, the 2 round and 2 flat in the Aspen and the Princeton Aspen series, and then potentially one of the round ones. This one's the 2 round, the new short Aspens. And I've also got some of my blenders that I'll probably use, the Velvet Touch, but I'll mention them if I use them. I'm not really sure exactly yet which ones I'm going to need, but I've got a variety of them set aside here to use tonight on this project. I haven't painted this ahead of time, so we're going to get to figure it out together, and you're going to get to see the whole good, bad, and ugly of the process. And hopefully at the end we'll have an interesting painting. All right, let's go over our colors. We've got Carbon Black, Burnt Umber, Burnt Sienna, Yellow Oxide, Cadmium Yellow Light, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Cobalt Teal, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Green Gold, Unbleached Titanium, and Titanium White. Let me go ahead and put out a little bit of gloss glazing liquid too.
Man, the handle of that brush looks like one of those police billy
What'd you
sticks.
say?
So the handle of that brush looks like one of those police billy sticks. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it could hurt somebody.
It's a weapon.
Doubles as a weapon.
Do not come into the studio.
That's right. That is right.
You got staff. Bow staff. Skills.
Yeah.
We could make a movie.
What?
We could make a movie. You know, you're just an artist. Nobody thinks much about you, but
Right.
you're a trained assassin.
Yeah, I'm a trained assassin on the side. Yeah. Like it. Use my brushes.
Brushes,
Kinda
hair
like
dryer.
John Wick style, just whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever was available in the studio.
Exactly, but better.
But then I don't travel, so. But I will be traveling, so I guess it could work. Who knows? All right. We're being weird. Hi guys, welcome. Glad you're with us. All right, so let me just quickly mention sort of if you're going to sketch this ahead of time. I will have a traceable of this finished available on my website. One thing you're going to just need to figure out is sort of your proportions. I got excited and started from the bottom and started mine too short. Well, also my problem was I moved this horizon line, or the line down, but didn't compensate for that when I drew it. So when I drew it on the line again instead of remembering that I had lowered the line. Anyhow, long story, it happened. So I'm going to put my line right around the third right there. Just splitting it in 3 parts and kind of marking that there. I didn't like that this was kind of lined up to the jar. When I did the photograph, I didn't notice that. It was kind of bugging me that it was so high, so I just kind of moved it down a little bit. It won't change our perspective on the brushes or anything like that. And then with something round like this, you know, something that's a circle this way, as soon as it's turning, you notice that opening is becoming an ellipsis, what is that word? An oval. There you go. Can't think of the word. Anyhow, so you mark your center line of your jar, just up and down, and then mark your width. So figure out, you know, how big you want it. Just make a big old box. And that way you can fit your item into that, and you won't get your perspective off. So try to, you know, get it square. And noticing my line here is going wonky. So look at the edge of your canvas, and that'll help. I might widen it out this way a little bit. And at the top. Okay. Then you figure out, you know, how wide you want your opening to be. On this picture, it's pretty open to us. It's not like fully, you know, if we were at eye level, get one of my jars here. No, that's not a good one because it's full of stuff.
Here's one.
Ah, there we go. There we go. So if you're at eye level, you're not going to see any circle, right? It's going to be like that. And the more you tilt it down, the more you look up, you raise your viewing angle to look down into it, the more it will open up. And this viewing angle was right in here somewhere. So we're looking at this line right here. Don't look at anything else but this line here, right? And that's what we want to draw. Figure out how wide that is, and you can kind of measure it from the width of the whole jar. So right here to here to here, it's maybe, you can start there kind of just with your fingers or whatever you've got tool, and just kind of measure visually how wide it is. So if we split this into 3 parts, see, I've already made it too narrow at the top. So split it into 3 parts because it's about there. It's about a third. Can I do that, and that? Might come down a little bit, but around that will work. And then you're going to split this box where the opening is going to be. I've got way too much going on inside here, so you gotta be able to see what I'm doing.
For a second there, I thought you were trying to hypnotize everybody. Look at this circle only. You're getting sleepy.
You're getting sleepy.
You're getting very sleepy.
Okay, then mark the center like that, and that'll be our width. And then we'll just basically curve. I know there's probably a more scientific way, but this is just how I do it. Curve it so that, and then you'll get a pretty decent representation of that opening there. Okay. And it's actually a little bit narrower than this part comes out. Like if you did a straight line up, my hand's not a straight line. Maybe that, you can see how that comes in a little bit from the edge of the jar. So we'll have to bring our jar out a little bit, or just move this in a little bit and compensate for it, and say maybe instead of our mark being there, it'll be here. And just bring those in. It won't really change much, but just change that like that. Okay, and then you're going to have other lines coming in below it for the rim. Follow this angle here, and then the rest of the jar. So let's erase this now. Don't need that. I don't need this. right? See, it's coming together. Then this part, let's go outside of our boundary box there a little bit. And it's slightly foreshortened. It's like slightly narrowed at the bottom. So it comes out a little bit there and there. And I'm coming out of my box. Or no, I guess it was supposed to be shorter than the box. Never mind. I had it right the first time. Remember that third one wasn't quite the same width. That bottom one was a little shorter. Okay, so there we go. There's our jar, or thereabouts. You know, you could be more careful than me, but you get the idea. That's how I go about it. And then as I paint it, you know, I kind of check my angles and stuff, because as you paint, you'll be moving things around and stuff. And then as far as the brushes go, you just kind of want to make sure, I kind of start here and make sure that they can fit in your jar. So start at the bottom, do your angles up from there and out. There's one here and a tall one there. And I want it to be, you know, pretty close to the top. If I did this right, then I've placed this, you know, so that I have room at the top there. Okay, so that'll be pretty close to what we want. I might narrow that down a little bit. It feels a little bit big, but let's go ahead and paint our background. We've been drawing for 15 minutes, so.
That's okay. That's a
Gotta
good
get
lesson. I
going.
like it.
Yeah. All right, we can get a little bit of the black, and let's get a little bit of our blue too. Maybe we'll do like a blue-gray background here. Maybe some of the unbleached titanium. There we go. And I'm just going to use that. To paint in the top upper half of my. And you could do your whole background first and then draw, maybe do your drawing on tracing paper. I recommend that. You know, generally I don't. Especially if I'm painting something that's complicated like this, I'll either do it on my digital tablet. That's actually better if you know how to do that, because then you can move things around and edit it really easily. You can shrink things and move them and, you know, all that stuff. It's super, super convenient to use a tablet for drawing. But if you're not that and you go old school, I would definitely use tracing paper and draw on tracing paper. And that way, when you're done with it, you've already got your traceable ready to go, and then you just trace it on straight with your tracing paper onto the canvas using your Sorel transfer paper here. I've got some. Speaking of, it's Amazon Days. I did want to put a plug in there for Amazon Prime Day. I have multiple lists on Amazon. My link is down in the description, and some of the stuff is on sale. Like I know the Posca pens that I like to use, these pin type ones. I just added them again to that list just to make sure that the right ones were in there for you. There's a set of these in multiple colors. These are great. This is what I like to use for signing, and they're the ones that have the little metal nibs, but they're really cheap right now on Prime Day, and there's other things in there as well in my other lists, but you can kind of go through and see if anything else. Generally, the like high-end stuff doesn't go on sale for Prime Day, so a lot of times you'll see like 20 brushes for $10, you know, and you're like, no, like those are not gonna last. They're not gonna. Brushes are something that you definitely want to invest in the good stuff. You can get away with, you know, a crappy canvas and maybe even bad paints, although I wouldn't recommend it. But you definitely notice if your brush starts falling apart on you, you know, as you're painting. That's one thing that you can't, I found, of all the things that I would invest in first, is good brushes. So don't be pulled in by those Prime Day specials on the brushes, because they're not worth it most of the time. I did a video on that, actually, comparing different cheap brushes versus the good brushes.
Did.
So I think it's called
I'll link it.
the Ultimate Brush Guide or something. I don't know. I tried to name it something real clickbaity.
Hey, real quick, you're mixing blue and black there?
Yeah, a little bit of ultramarine blue with my black, and then unbleached titanium here. I'm trying to put it on kind of streaky like. It's not. If your paint is going on this way, that means you just need more water with it. I probably need to spray my canvas down, so let me do that. And that's one way of doing it without having to make your paint too watery. And then you could see it's going to go on really nicely on my canvas now for me. Almost too watery. So don't spray it too much. And when I'm blending this, I'm not super over blending. I'm leaving it kind of streaky because I want those streaks to kind of show up. There we go. Now we're getting it. And that's one of the things that I like about these brushes too, is you can get those kind of dry brush streaks a little bit easier because they're already super textured, these brushes are. So because we're doing this wood grain, it's going to be a lot easier to do if you've got a stiff bristled brush that's got a little texture going on. All right, so that's about all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a real heavily detailed wood grain or anything like that. But I do want it to kind of come right up to that jar fairly smoothly, not too patchy. And if you want to do more, you can, I've got multiple videos that have wood grain in them. Get a little bit of that black and just kind of lightly streak back through that wet paint to add a little bit of detail to it. Doesn't take much, honestly, to get this wood grain look. Just very lightly, almost flat to the canvas here. That's the key. And that way it'll just skim without painting. If you have it too upright, it will cause lines and things, but you just kind of want the texture of the brush to catch on the canvas as you pull it across. All right, that looks good. We'll just leave that there. Let's go ahead and get some white. And here at the bottom, we'll do kind of a light gray.
Got a question about paints.
About paints?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This said that they put the paints on too heavy.
Okay.
Would it be better if they used liquid acrylics?
Yeah, if that's a problem for you, then you might try it. Some of the techniques are harder to do with liquid acrylics, like dry brushing, for instance, can be a little trickier. But I honestly find that, I've taught a lot of people, even at live in person, and I often found that there were students that did that, that were just naturally inclined to really load up the brush. Usually they were like a little bit more extroverted than the others and a little bit more confident, and which is not a bad thing. So what I'm saying is you may just decide to embrace that portion of your personality and go with it, and not fight your natural tendency to do that, and just use it to help develop your own style of painting. I'm teaching a way to paint. This is kind of the way I've found works for me, but it's not for everybody. So and I'm not trying to make you conform to a certain way of painting, so or be a mini me. you know, in the way you do it. Now there are some things that you can do that will, you know, make it easier, and that's what I'm trying to show you. But if you're naturally, you know, heavy-handed with your paint, then maybe you want to try doing some techniques that are conducive to that, you know, and do some impressionist style tutorials. I've got lots of those, and see if those are easier, you know, than find that the super smooth blending and realistic stuff probably requires a little bit less paint on the brush, you know. So if that's what you're trying to achieve, then I would definitely see if maybe, you know, different kind of paint helped, or just get in the habit of wiping your, you know, having a paper towel and wiping it every time. Load your brush up and then just wipe it a couple of times on a paper towel and then go, and just, you know, force yourself to slow down a little bit. Usually the overloading of the brush is just your paint, you're loading it quickly, and you're not, you're being, you know, impatient with the process and just grabbing it and dunking it into the paint instead of pulling it and loading the brush slowly. So, you know, getting a good technique for loading your brush with a little bit more care, and having it off to the side and pressing it flat on either side when you're loading it, flipping it over, and then again, like, I'm not loading it into the thickest part. Even when I'm mixing a paint, I'm starting here. Let's just go ahead and do it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and do this jar here. I'll get the little bit smaller brush. This is the 8 flat. So I want to do kind of that turquoisey green color. I think I'll go with Cobalt Teal and Phthalo green. And then I'm going to use the gray from the background because it's showing through. So just use that. And you can see how I pulled from those colors, pushed down and offloaded them onto a new spot, and then moved away from that. I don't just load into that fresh thick paint. I move away from it and press down really hard to get the bristles flared out and to spread that paint evenly on my brush so that I don't have a ton hanging off the sides. And that's how you should be loading your brush. And then grab some new paint. I'm getting that gray, and then we'll use that kind of to start filling out. And then I don't have a ton of extra paint on my brush. And then get a little bit of water. When you dunk into the water, just dip the corner of the brush. Don't go all the way. I'm just dipping like this little bit of it into the water it just wicks it right up. You don't have to dunk your brush into the water unless you're washing it out or cleaning it. I'm going to move off to the side here. So I'm pressing down to kind of offload that paint, and then grab some of the unbleached titanium. Again, pressing down nice and hard to make sure those bristles are flaring out. And then once I've got it mixed, then I'm going to press down and just smush it off so that I don't have a ton on my brush. And then I've got a little bit of paint to come back to later. And there we go. So there's our new color. All right. So let's just, I feel like this is still a little bit too dark. My proportions off on my jar because I move things around. Getting a little bit of that gray, and right, especially on the edges of your objects, when especially glass or metal, you're going to have a color that is almost identical to the what is outside of it. That makes it realistic. It will kind of blend it into the environment. It's always picking up the colors around it. So whatever's around it, if you did red, you would use red. If you did, you know, whatever the color is that is around your jar, that's the color that you're going to use here to mix into your jar color. So they're just merging those two colors. And I'm getting very close in value to just around the outside there. That will also help with our drawing. Doesn't have to be as perfect, which is nice. So I'll come back in and add more to it and probably lighten up this bottom area, made it a little bit darker than the picture, but this will do for now. All right, I'm gonna get some phthalo blue, mix that into there, smush it down, and I'm gonna come over here and pick up some of that black that I had from my background up here. And then some white. This area's a little bit darker. I just used that black since it was up in this area. It's going to show through our glass in this area. And this is, again, pretty dark. So I may lighten it up a little bit. Especially like as it's coming down into the jar. But it does have a lot of that gray, so make sure you're always adding that gray. Okay. This is just tinting. Basically, you're just looking through a light green filter into the gray. So think about what you would be seeing if you did that. Got blue. I've got that on top, and now it's over here. It looks yellowish because it's got this yellow background. But then when I put it on top of the blue, it changes the tint. It's, you know, you get the idea. All right. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you like you're really?
You're explaining it to them like they're me? The big yellow one's the sun.
Right. The clear glass shows through the colors underneath. Amazing.
What?
Never knew that. Well, but the thing is, though, when you get to painting, you forget the simplest things.
Right.
That's the only reason why I say it.
You don't see the obvious.
Right,
the
because
stuff that
you
know
get
every day.
going and you're like, oh, that's a green jar, I should paint it green.
Right.
You know, or, oh, that water is blue, I should paint it blue, instead of, oh, the water is blue, but it is reflecting the sky color, and so the sky color should be, you know, affecting it too, and stuff like that, you know, so.
Did you say the water's butt is blue?
What?
What? So did you say the water's butt is blue?
No. No. What are you
I know,
listening to?
being silly.
All right. Coming out.
So you're getting, I'm trying to help the best I can.
Mm-hmm.
Getting ready for a sale. Picked out a few, 3 or 4 paintings, I think, to sell.
I am, yes. Thank you for saying that, because I did want to mention that today. So we are having our first Etsy sale, selling our paintings. from the last several years. I think we haven't done a sale in like at least 3 years. And so I'm really excited. We are overgrown with paintings. Mark is super happy. We literally have a whole room dedicated to storing them. I'm not kidding. 2 huge storage things full of paintings, like full, like
Everything that you see painted here.
I have so many of this size paintings that they fit about, how wide do you think that canvas, that thing is?
4 foot.
4 foot plus. So they're 4 feet of these stacked. That's how many I have. 4 feet. A lot. So we're trying to help a girl out here. Plus, we're trying to fund our trip to England, and
To
we're going to
UK.
be painting UK and France. We're going in September for 3 weeks, and we're going to be uploading videos on the road. I'm not really sure what they're going to be like. We probably won't be doing live streams during that time, but we will be uploading short vlogging videos and short tips and things. Who knows? I honestly don't have a plan. I'm trying to kind of, and they're going to be watercolor too. So watercolor and gouache, which gouache is similar to acrylics in a lot of ways. I've done a a gouache and acrylic comparison on my channel, little hummingbird paintings that I did a couple of years ago when I first started being intrigued by watercolor. Yeah, this one right here. Yeah. So that one,
Mark
I
claimed
have
that
2 of
one.
them. I don't know which one that is. I didn't mark it, so I have no idea which
Well,
one that is, if that's acrylic or gouache.
That one's not for sale.
No, they're not for sale.
That's Mark's.
Well, and they're on the paper.
Foam something.
Yeah, they were.
Anyways.
Anyhow, so we're doing this sale to kind of prep ourselves for that and try to earn a little bit extra cash so that we can do fun stuff while we're out there. It's super expensive. Oh my god. But it'll be a working trip. So I will be working and painting and having a blast in England. Really excited. I've always wanted to go.
And she's taking me with her.
Yes, Mark is coming along as my videographer. So he's been...
We'll see how that goes. We were taking pictures of the watermelon the other day. She's like, no, like this.
Yeah, I literally took it from him. Oh my gosh. It's just...
You'll have some
No.
really good close-up pictures
like-
and stuff.
Okay, so here, imagine a watermelon. I'm looking through his camera and he's doing this. Like, it's like cutting off half of it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, zoom out and just get the whole thing and then you can crop it. Like, what?
What? It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, so
All right, getting some green gold here and some white. I have just been mixing basically all the same colors here. The teal, the phthalo blue, the phthalo green here with my black and white and the 2 whites. So just different varying tones. It's probably too dark up here, but we'll see. Just kind of working on getting the shape more than anything. And we can work on the colors later. I'm not worried about that. All right, adding some green gold here. What were you saying, hon?
So Sunday we went through, did a rapid pick through,
Right.
realized that we're not going to be able to get them all.
No,
And
we had
so-
way too many.
There's a 6 foot by 3 foot table in the living room right now with
Stacked.
paintings stacked on them, and
Stacked.
whatever we can get prepared and uploaded. Sale will start this Sunday,
Yes.
July 21st,
Right.
and we'll go through July 31st,
Yes.
2024.
And then it will probably take me up to 2 weeks to get them all prepped and painted and scent, because I still have to varnish them. So I'm going to try to do that this weekend if I can, or actually during the sale, varnish them
It's been
during the sale. But I'm just saying, if you buy it on the first day, you probably won't get it that next week. It'll probably be.
it will try, but it's been stupid hot here.
I'm going to ship them all off at the same time, so they'll have to wait for the sale to end, and then I will be shipping them all off at the same time, because it takes so long to. It's a whole thing.
Yes.
So
Anyways.
that's the plan. If you need it expedited, let me know, and I will accommodate that. But for anybody who can wait, we'll just be doing it all in one go, so we can get them out of the.
All right.
Anyhow, all right. Phew. All right. So I'm looking at the shape. I feel like it's maybe a little short. I don't know. Let me look.
I think to me, the opening is a little too round.
Too round?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it needs to be more oval.
Just bring it up.
Just ever so slightly.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of going by what I was holding. I wasn't really looking at the picture as much. All right, so let me get a little bit smaller brush. So here we go. And maybe a roundish. Here we go. Okay, so we'll do the Filbert, because that's got the rounded edge, and see what we can do here. All right, so now that we've got our bare bones on here, we're going to edit the drawing a little bit. Like Mark was saying, it may be a little bit off. And I can use chalk to do that. Like I could get a chalk pencil, my charcoal pencil, and do my edits so that I know exactly what I want to do. So maybe we do like that instead. Maybe that's the top of our jar. Again, make sure that I'm going straight across and up and down so that I have my center figured out. So those are my widest points of my ellipsis. What is this called? Oval.
Oval.
But it's something else. I want to say eclipse, but I know that's wrong.
Ellipsis?
Is it ellipsis?
I don't know. You're gonna get me to get my Google Blocks out here.
Surely somebody in the audience is a math teacher and knows what this shape is. Okay, so that's good. That's a little bit better. I just raised it up a little bit. And I can maybe raise that up a little bit right there. All right.
Elliptical, ellipsoidal, obvate, oviform, ovoid, egg-shaped. Those are all.
But what is the shape? What is the shape? Is it just oval?
Oval, yeah.
All right. I'm making it way too complicated, aren't I? Just trying to. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got a little bit better plan where, and this basically all this is with the jar opening is these ellipse is stacked. So there's one there, but you're not seeing the back of it, but we're seeing this curve in, and then one here, and then one here. And they're going in, so they're creating these little nubbins in. on
Okay.
the edges there.
So the,
Okay.
the ellipse is a plane curve surrounding two focal points such
Ellipse.
that for all points of the curve are the sum of
Thank you.
blah, blah, blah.
Okay, ellipse. Ellipse. All right, we didn't do too bad on that part. I think this needs to come down straighter here. And then maybe a little bit longer. It kind of comes almost to a point right here. Because it's so short. Okay, there we go. And then we've got this. Let's go ahead and draw in the, well, no, we can't do that yet because we've got the brushes to come. All right, let's get going here because we're gonna be running out of time. We're already almost an hour just on this. I know. All right, so I'm getting this light green. I'm adding more white to it. And maybe a little bit of my gray. Because again, we've got that background. This is green gold. And this turquoise. And then just a slight, tiniest little bit of black. So just kind of using the edge, the brush on its edge, on its side here. I'm going to scrub in some little if this was watercolor, you'd be doing this all opposite. That's going to be the interesting thing for me. I tried to painting watercolor the other day. We went out, which I don't recommend doing in the summer in Arkansas. Not fun. It's not fun. I didn't last maybe 15 minutes. And I was like, yep, that's good enough. Let's go home. Let's get in the air conditioner.
And it was early in the morning.
It was early and it was steamy. I was like literally had sweat dripping down into my eyes.
This is weird. We don't need sweat dripping down.
No. No, you don't.
And Fitz was, I got to try,
Getting some
practicing.
cobalt teal here. Adding that to the same color that I was just using. Go.
I was doing some practicing of, videoing different angles of her. And in the background, you can hear the birds and you can hear. From Fitz.
Our dog.
Fitz was like, oh my God. It's so
What are we
hot.
doing?
Can we go away in the car?
No, please. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and add just some little bright pops of green. I'm going to get some phthalo green and some of the glaze. And you can't really see, the bottom of that jar is like right in here. And you can see a little bit through. So let's go ahead and kind of do a section that is, we're going to have the brushes in the way and all that, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but let's go ahead and bring that down too to where I drew it. Okay.
Okay, Jazz has said that we need to get matching sweatbands for us and the dog.
Yes, headbands. We need sweatbands. Yeah,
70s
sweatbands.
tennis.
I like it. I definitely needed that. Where were you when I needed that, Jazz? I actually have one. So I can't remember where I got it from. But I think I have one. I think it's, well, I know I have some Muse wristbands. I have no idea why I bought it. I think I might have bought it thinking one of my boys wanted it, and they were like, no, Mom. insert, but Mark said Jazz was asking about the travel brushes too. Did you mention that to her?
I did
Or
not.
yeah,
Yes,
so
last week
yes,
she
the
was
water
talking about the
brushes.
ones, yeah.
Yes, I do have those, and I will be using them, bringing them.
Yeah, we were sitting on the couch, and I look over, and I'm like, oh, you do have those.
Mm-hmm. They're great for. I've been doing lots of color charts, trying to figure out the perfect palette to bring. Oh my gosh!
So I'd
I've gone
encourage you
down
to.
the rabbit hole. This is green gold mixed in with that turquoise that I already had, that had the cobalt teal. So just again, kind of using just different greens. It doesn't matter what color you're using. I'm just using different greens all over in different places. So that's all I'm doing. There's not a lot of strategy to it. Just kind of trying to look at my pictures, see where I'm seeing kind of different greens. You could maybe, say all the yellow greens are going to be like on this side and all the blue greens are going to be on this side. That's kind of what I'm seeing in mine, so that's sort of what I'm doing, but it honestly doesn't matter. We're just kind of trying to create some variety of light and streaking in our vase here. So anyhow, but yes, I do have the water brushes for the travel is going to be really nice, so we'll be using those. Again, making sure that I'm getting a little bit of this gray too when I pick up white. I really should have just some gray over the side, and so when I pick up my white, instead of the white, I'm picking up gray, because that's kind of what I need. Did I cut you off, honey? You were starting to say something.
Oh, well, I'm encouraging you to take a picture and post of all the little color painting chart
for sure.
practices that you're doing.
Yeah.
This is all to settle on a tin that is about 6 inch by 3 inch.
There's 21 pink. I don't know. Go get it. I don't know. I don't even know how many colors it is. But I am going to do a video on what I decide to bring my travel kit. So kind of already recorded a little bit of one, but I've changed my paints since then, so I'll need to do another one. But I'll be posting that before the video, before we go, and then during that week of travel we'll be doing a little bit more. So these are the colors that Princeton sent me. They're the My Mary Blue colors, and then they're in tubes. So yeah, so 21 colors, and oh my gosh, like so many. Yeah, I'm not gonna go over them today, but that's the size. I'll show you the tray though. It's super cute. Well, I don't think I have it in my watercolor kit. It's from Christy Rice, Joy Paint Crush, but it's not her paints. It's just the tin, and then I put my own paints in there. So really fun. But yeah, so. Yes, definitely different. And I'm really loving, one thing that I really like about the watercolors that I'm finding has been fun is just the way they move. They just blend and move together so beautifully. And I've watched a lot of videos on it. I've practiced a lot, and I'm just trying to kind of get a little bit better understanding of how to control that movement. And it's just a whole different thing from acrylics. So, all right. I think I need to move that out, but anyhow, we're getting there. Doing a little lighter. I've just added more white now, and just continuing to kind of come back in and add more and more light little bits here and there. And when I want a little bit more paint, I just hold the brush, push the brush really to a fine point and then hold it upright. So I'm getting just the tip kind of touching down. But when I want it more scruffy and less controlled, and more of that belly of the brush touching, then I kind of hold it on its side and scrub side to side like that. And I wouldn't do that with just any brush. These brushes are kind of a little bit thicker, but I wouldn't do that technique with a softer brush like these, because I might damage the tips of them. These ones can take a little bit more abuse. So that's
If
why
they
I'm...
don't have that brush, what other...
Oh, like a hog bristle brush would work, or even the blender brush. The blender brush is probably the one that I would use, and probably even should be using instead of that one, because it's made for scrubbing. The Aspen will get damaged if I continue messing with it that way eventually. Get a little bit more of the brighter green. And let's go ahead and just go right along the edge here. I'm using I've switched to the 3/8 inch blender. Ooh, got a little bit brighter. That's okay though. I need a little bit of contrast here. Okay, and then if you get too much of a line, just pick up your color next to it, or just kind of get some water and just smush that out so that it's soft. With glass, you want everything to be kind of blendy between your colors. So just kind of blending those out will help. And I don't want to do too much of the reflections right now because we're going to put the brushes in here. So I need to get those brushes going.
We got another paint question.
Okay.
They would like to know, can you mix your own quinacridone colors?
Not really. They're not mixable. They're single pigment colors. Any single pigment colors you really can't mix. I mean, some of them you can get close, like something like cadmium red, for instance. You can use quinacridone and like Pyrrole orange to get something similar. Let me see if I've got my color chart. You can download these. Let me see if I can find it. No, I don't have it. Nope. Sorry. I have this printable. Daniel Smith has it with watercolors. It's basically a color wheel. Where is it? No, I can't find it. Basically, it's a sheet that's got all the colors and their relative. Gosh, I wish I could find it. Sorry. Their relative placement on, like the ones on the outside are the most vibrant, and then they get more neutral going toward the middle. And the idea is that it's not like a regular color wheel. Some of the colors are inside, some of them are outside, some of them are, placed differently on this whole chart. And you can say, okay, I've got Quinacridone Magenta and, Pyrrole orange or something like that. And basically any colors that connect on this in a straight line and towards the inside, you can mix. Any that fall out here, so say Quinacridone Magenta, you might have Cadmium Red and Ultramarine Blue here, and Quinacridone Magenta out here, and you cannot mix it using another red, because it's falling outside that chroma. It's too concentrated, and but I could mix a a cadmium red and a quinacridone if I have another orange that falls that's really intense, or even a yellow that's really intense, but not yellow doesn't work. Spoiler alert. But what I'm saying is because cadmium falls between those two intense colors, you can mix it. So there's several reds that you can mix with Quinacridone Magenta and Pyrrole Orange, and that's why I switched to using Pyrrole Orange instead of Cadmium Red Light, because I could mix more reds with it, and I could also mix other oranges, brighter oranges with it, because I can mix it with yellow and get cadmium orange with it, or something close to cadmium orange. It's like Pyrrole Orange is here, cadmium yellow light is here, and cadmium orange is like right here. So it's just outside the range, but I can still get it close enough that if I have to have it, I can just pull it into my palette. But for most everyday use, I just use Pyrrole Orange. So anyhow, that's a whole nother topic. But
so
no, the short answer is no.
I just ran it through my translator. No.
Sorry. I get excited about color, can you tell?
The bottom right-hand corner of your jar looks like it's a little...
Wonky right here?
Yes, not as rounded as the left side.
You're right. I think you are right.
Well, thanks.
When you flip it upside down, usually you can see things easier, plus I can get to it easier. I hadn't painted that side yet. I was getting around to it.
We have a special guest in chat. It's Baby Pikachu.
Baby Pikachu, Noah. Hey, sweet girl. That's our granddaughter. She's the cutest.
One of the
All our
three.
grandkids are the cutest.
Yes.
Sorry to all the other grandbabies out there. I'm sure they are the cutest to your grandmamas, but mine are the cutest to me. So sweet. She was dressed up like Baby Pikachu in some videos the other day, and I mean, she's not quite 2, and she's starting to talk in full sentence, and she said, baby is the Pikachu. Like, oh my gosh. She's dressed up in her Baby Pikachu outfit.
You got a smile and a squeal.
Oh my gosh, she was so cute. I got a smile and a squeal. Oh. She's so sweet. All right, so getting some phthalo blue here. I mixed up some gray so that I could, remember to use it with. Oops. Well, I must have touched it. Didn't mean to grab that much of it. Just kind of correcting this side of my jar. I think we're close. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to do a little bit more intense blue right on that edge on that side. Get a little bit more of my phthalo blue. Again, picking it up here and not going straight from picking it up to the canvas, but taking it to a spot on my palette and pushing it in and loading my brush up. That's a really important step, and that will help you not use too much paint. So always pick up the paint and take it. And the only time I pick up paint and go straight to my canvas is if I want to have like a really thick application of paint, or if I'm like doing like maybe the eye dot in an animal or something like that, and I know I just am using the very tip of the brush and just barely dip it in and pick up straight paint and then go in. But I hardly ever will just grab paint from here and go to the canvas. Never. You take it and you push it down into the brush here and then go to the canvas every time. Just get in the habit of doing it. After a while you won't even realize you're doing it. But if you're starting out with bad habits and doing this all the time, that's you're just going to remember to do that, and you'll be using your paint will be less controlled. So which is fine if that's the goal, you know. I mean, it's all in the, you know, your style and what you're trying to accomplish. But if you're trying to control how much paint's going on your brush, then be sure you're always going to a spot on your palette, not going straight from the paint to canvas. Paint puddle to canvas. That makes sense. All right, so that looks pretty good. I think I've spent way enough time on this portion of the thing. Let's go ahead and do the bottom, the back of the jar there. Switched back to my Filbert. Not really sure why. I think just because this one's having a harder time controlling. Although I do want to put a little bit of green on the inside of my, let me get a little bit of the green gold. Now if you don't have green gold, you can mix it with phthalo green and yellow. So just use yellow and your green gold and you're good. How's precious grandbaby doing today?
I think she's doing good. I just watched another video that you sent through Messenger. That's a good thing about being the sound and video guy. You can watch videos from your granddaughter.
Well, during the show.
During the show, yep.
You're cheating.
I know.
I love it. Okay, this is turning out good. So before I forget, let's go ahead and put some of the reflections on our ground back here. So I'm going to get some of the more intense blue here and get some glaze. And just go ahead and put that on right underneath my jar. Just use my hand. Just fuzz out those edges, and let's use some of that green gold too. Again, glaze, wipe that out. Might even get a little bit of white just because there's some little light reflections coming through the shadow. It's not just shadow coming through. Alright, let me go a little bit darker with it. Over here, get some of that gray. Mix that in with a little tiny bit of the blue. You could do this before you do your vase if you want. Trying to keep it fairly thin. The nice thing about doing this technique is that if you have a texture on your, say I did a texture on my the ground here, then I could see that texture through. Really, you don't have to do it this way. You could just have some of that extra background color and mix in a little bit of the blue to it, and you'll get a similar effect. So, because my background doesn't have any details as far as like a pattern or something like that I'm trying to capture. Okay, but that looks good. So we've got our shadow, all of that. Let me get a little bit of the white color and do the inside. So say this is coming up here. So I want to figure out where that is and just create that little bit coming across. And then again, so I didn't do the rim of this one. Let's do that. And then come down a little bit. Think about where this one was going to be and do that for this ring. And then think about where this one's going to be. So this one is right in here. And it's coming up right here, so maybe right in there. Look at my line there too to help me. Okay. I'm just gonna blend that out. Use my finger. All right. And then I want a little bit of dark. So get a little bit of my gray and my green, phthalo green, cobalt teal. And there's some dark. Come on. So basically, same thing we're doing here where we're having the dark and then going over it with the light. We did the light, now we're going to go back with some dark and just kind of add that. Okay. I think this needs to be higher. I think I did it a little too low. I'm just going to push it up. There we go. And it's going to go out. Think about where that line is. Okay. I pulled off my paint color. I rubbed so hard I pulled it off. Okay, just taking our time on this jar. Really, probably taking too long, but it's okay. It'll look pretty cool, hopefully. Let's go ahead and do our brushes. Let me go ahead and get most of the color out of these brushes so they're not drying with the... When you're painting for a couple hours, you gotta keep these brushes that have been setting off to the side. Don't leave them in your water. But make sure that they don't dry out with the paint in them, because you really need to wash your brushes out really well with acrylics. Can't let them dry with the paint in. You'll ruin them. And if you're investing in really good brushes, which you should be, then you want to take care of them. All right, I'm gonna just take some water and wipe off my chalk, any of the chalk that's still visible there. Wow, I took off my color right there when I did that. That's crazy. That means that paint didn't stick to my canvas properly. I had too much water in it or something. So you might need to add a little glazing medium when you do this part back here.
Binder. Get some binder in.
Yep, just took out too much of the binder. All right, so I'm seeing a dark shadow right here. Coming around. Let me get a little bit of this dark gray in my green. Phthalo green. Cobalt teal. Go from the top. Try it with the round brush. Trying to get something close to what I was using before. So I need it kind of just on the inside and then at the top of that jar coming around. There we go. These dark contrasts. Now we've got a jar. Get a little bit of that down here, doing a few lines. It's all the way across here. Blend it out if you need to. A little bit. Even just a little bit of that white showing right there. Okay. I'm going to bring that up and just do the dark. And do my white again. I brought it in just a little bit too much right here. So I'm going to correct that. Push this inside back a little bit. But there's going to be a brush right up against this, so I'm not too worried about it. The brush will edit that, but that's not the opening right there. Okay. Getting a little bit of my white. This is the better brush for this. More control. I've mixed it with the colors that I have on here. And I'm just going to put the bright white, a couple spots. Kind of comes around and then there's a dark spot in the middle. Like it. And then same thing here, there's like a dark, there's a light bit that comes around here. Okay. A little bit here. A little bit there. It's all about where you place that light. Kind of going on either side of that dark. Getting a little bit more of my light green. Doing dark on either side. And then hitting the light in the middle. And it's okay to have a little bit of this super saturated green too, to pop it in here and there. These jar lids, if you look at them, you know, they're picking up light, just bouncing, binging around from all kinds of places. So I'm just trying to kind of catch that feel of that translucency. Getting a little bit of the green gold, and maybe this one has some green gold kind of right in the middle either side of the dark green, with the dark green on either side of it. Okay, so just, I'm going way too much detail here. I said I was going to keep this simple and I'm not. You guys didn't believe that, did you? Because I don't think anybody did. I'm not fooling anybody. Okay, there we go. All right, let's stop there and let's put in our brushes. So let's mark those in. First one's right here. And we're not seeing the back end of it. Ferrule, round. And then the tapered tip. It comes out just a little bit from the round bit there. Okay, and let's do our large flat. And it's crimped sort of flat. And you're just barely seeing the end of it in the glass there. This reminds me of our artist snow lady that we did Christmas time. She was selling brushes. And we did that painted, one of my favorite paintings that I've ever done, and it's been licensed in by Current, that does the labels, address labels. So it's address labels of those flower brushes that I did years ago. Love that painting. So this one's a little higher than this one, so bring it up just a little higher than that. Filbert, cut it off there. A little bit of a crimp. Crimp. Stripe. Okay. And then tall. All around. This is a Robert Simmons, so they're kind of a natural hair. They're kind of a soft look. And this is, because it's above our eye line, it's curving. These are curving up just a little bit. This and this is kind of going straight across right there. But this line is curving up instead of down. This one was curving down. These are kind of like straight across. Depends on, our eye line is kind of right in here somewhere. So anything above it is going to be curving up. Anything below it is going to be curving down. Okay. This comes in front, all the way down. It's kind of meeting up with that one in the picture, but I don't know if I drew it that way, so that's okay. There. And then this one is cutting off right here. Let me move it over just a little bit. These are, this one's way longer. Let me move him. carefully wiping that so I don't scratch off the paint. This comes in front. Okay. I'm going to move him down a little bit. Like that. And then our fan brush is kind of angled away from us. Let's see what's going there. And then this one is coming across to right here. So I'm going to start where it ends so I get that angle right and make sure that I leave room for it to come out this opening right here. So right like that. And that's coming in front. Okay, and then there's some of it showing in the glass because it's pressed right up against the glass. There, this one's showing a little bit in the glass. This one behind, and everything else is behind it. Okay. This one is like a Deerfoot Stippler, so it's rounded. It's going to come out like that at an angle. Alright, that looks good. Let's go ahead and draw. Paint. How are we doing? Oh my goodness. Terrible.
We're not doing terrible. We're doing just as we should be.
It's a good thing we ate dinner before the show. I was hoping that it would not take me that long to do the glass jar, but it took me a while to get it, and I really fussed at it a little bit longer than I should have, probably. But I'm having fun, so that's what happens when you're having fun. Alright, getting the black. I'm just going to start in the back and start those ones. The ones that are in front of the glass will be done a little bit different than the ones behind the glass. And I think what I might do, well, yeah, I can't really do that because I just need to be careful where I'm doing this. We could tape off the rim first. I'm going to get a little bit of glaze. As I'm doing this, I'm just going to add the drawing of it into just the shadow of it in there. And it's very fuzzy, so you don't have to do a lot of detail, just a little bit like that. And it's coming out here. It's very blurry. Just gonna do like that. Right. I'm gonna do the same while I've got this color. I'm gonna do the same thing with this brush here that's also black. This is glaze. And it goes pretty dark in places, so sometimes I'm just gonna do straight up, then sometimes I'm gonna kind of wiggle it around and make it real wobbly looking. Like that. It's all distorted by the glass. See how it's not a straight line at all. So just wiggle it around here. Every now and then I'll have it a little bit darker. Okay, looks good. This is in front of this one. This is just black. I need to make sure I'm going straight here with this. Okay. Alright, I'm going to get the white and my green from my jar, which was these phthalo green and turquoise, or phthalo green and cobalt teal, which if you don't have cobalt teal, you can use phthalo blue for a substitute. And this one is metallic, so it's got the reflections of the inner part happening. Get a little bit of white. Line those up, get the gray. Alright, keep going here, black. So this crease is dark. And then the highlighted part is right there along the edge of that crease. And then just use that wet to smush it around while it's wet. Right below. And then right at the top too, there's a highlight. Get that dark. And just mess it up a little bit. There's reflections and things happening. Now with metal, you're going to have sharper angles, so we don't have to blend it. Really, you can just kind of do lines and things, and it'll look more metallic if you do. So you can go in and do a really straight line on it. Do a couple of reflections that are very angular. It all makes it look more shiny. Get a little gray in the middle. You see? Again, that white. Just kind of blending that out just a little bit. Bright white. Okay. We need to paint more metallic things. It's so fun. Again, some burnt sienna. Mix that in with my black. And this is kind of a natural fiber here. Let's go ahead and go up. Just sort of fill in the shape with that. And at the very top, I'm going to kind of create that jaggedy line. And there's not a lot of detail in this portion because it's so dark. Just make sure it's nice and tucked down into that. And then we can add just a few, maybe get a little bit of the white and just add a few little, they have those little white hairs that kind of come up. Just a few. Okay. First one, it may be my favorite. I'm going to get a little bit dark line and just kind of trim along that edge there to define that edge. Do the same thing on this side. Get the white. Kind of went over the top right here with the hairs, so. Get it wrapped around those hairs just a little bit right there. It's important. So it's grabbing them. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the black on this guy. This is kind of a matte black, so it's a different metal. It's not as shiny. It's got more of a satin finish. Slight shine, but not so it'll be blended out. Whereas this one was super chrome white, you know, metallic. This one, the metal is satin. You can see it there. It's just a matte finish. I'm going to widen out the head where it crimps just a little bit. Narrow it back. And then get my white. And while this black is wet, I think it'll be the easiest to blend. So I'm going to find where that crimp is, right in here, and just lay some white down and wipe my brush out and pull it down into that wet black paint. And you can do that 2 or 3 times, you know, however much you need it to do. I'm going to get a little bit more of the brighter white. Do a little bit more right there. And then there's just a little hint of it right there. And on this side, coming down. And there's another crimp right here. And another one right here. that second crimp, there's that teal blue band. Gonna get a little bit of white with my teal blue. And it's really kind of like phthalo blue and cobalt teal a little bit together with the white. Got a model right here, we can just hold it up. Get it just right. And really, it actually, I'm making it narrow there, but it actually kind of widens out right there as it goes down and then narrows. So I need to just slightly widen right there. I need to widen this brush just a little bit. Okay, and then getting the little bit of phthalo blue and just going along one side here. Darkening that up. Probably need to leave it because it's got so many layers of paint on there right now. It just needs to dry. We can put our details in. I'm trying to get it all into one layer, but we got it close. And then there's some lettering too down here. I'm not gonna do them exactly, but I'm just gonna mark, you know, some little dots and lines, zigzaggy in the glass there to make it look like writing. All right. A little bit more right there. These are coming together faster. Okay, and then this is white. But it's sort of ecru, so I'll start with white and then I'll dirty it up. Some unbleached titanium. And you can see on the brushes, you know, they're kind of dirty, and there are some dark little bits in there just slightly, even though it's white. So we'll get some black here and just do some very faint little lines through coming up, and then we'll let that dry and add some more highlights to it. Cleaning up that edge there. Okay. 2 down, 12 to go. No. We got it. We got this. All right. Let's do this white one, or silvery handle. I'm going to make it gray. And it's kind of resting up against the edge here. A little bit more. I'm going to move it over over just a little bit. Okay, let's get the black and reflect it down that side. Doing our lines for our crease. And then this side, there's some of that green. I'm going to use the gray too. And it's got some lines coming up here and also down in here. Okay. I go all the way up. I can probably zoom in on this. Well, yeah. I'm going to have to do the handles though. Maybe not. It's going to be tricky to zoom in. Alright, so getting some blue. This is Phthalo blue and ultramarine with white. I'll put another coat on this. And then get some glaze, very faint blue in our glass right here where this is coming through. I'm just going to go ahead and put it everywhere that I'm seeing it, and then we'll paint over it with the other colors, but there we go. And it's a little bit darker in some places, so I'm going to get a little bit of gray on the inside, I mean. And then get some blue with a little bit of that black. And right in here, there's just a really nice dark shadow. Okay. Getting some white. I added a little bit of the green to it too. And I'm just gonna dab it down. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. Get a little bit of that yellow oxide, unbleached titanium, and white. I'm going to use that for this brush. I'll leave it looking kind of scruffy, get a little bit of burnt umber, or a little bit of black. Do my thin lines through it in the opposite direction. Okay, we'll come back for the highlights later, and it definitely needs some highlights in the metal. Get a little bit of the white and just fix this right here. I'm seeing it's a little wonky right here. There, and then get a little bit of black, and just where it meets the inner part right there, there's a little bit of dark where it goes down in. I'm gonna bring this black around the edges of that brush just a little bit. It's gonna be slightly whiter than where the brushes come out. This needs to be darker here. And then shadow underneath where that is coming out. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to do a little bit more of that black there. Bit more in the middle right there. It's just a matter of little shadows. It's hard to tell sometimes too because I've got my chalk marks still on there, so take those off. I'm going to try to wipe them off dry so that I don't pull off the paint. Okay, we're getting there. So far, so good. Let's do this sapphire brush. I'm making it kind of bigger than it was because I want it to be taller, so I'm elongating it from the reference photo on purpose. I wanted it to be a little bit taller, and I didn't have a blue brush that was taller, so we'll just make it taller in our picture. Okay, this red was going to go in front. This is going to continue behind and in front of this right here. So right in here. Oh, actually this one's in front. But okay, so I don't need that. This one's going to be in front right there. But this goes in front of this one. Literally just rocking it back and forth to get a uneven line. Looks like wavy glass. Okay. Get a little bit of the white. There's not a ton of detail on this one because it's behind everything else, but there is a little. Yeah, this guy. Okay. Let's do this one that's, whoop. Let's do this one that's behind everything. Get the brown. Kind of a narrow brush. And you're not really seeing much of it because this one here is coming in front, so we're not seeing much of anything until maybe right at the end where it comes out. Like that. Okay. Get a little bit of the black. Put that on this side. Honestly, having to make this up because it's not in our picture. He's hiding behind the other brushes in the picture. I think it kind of comes out a little bit. And then it's gold instead of silver, so we'll get our yellow oxide and some of that burnt umber. Maybe even a little bit of the cadmium yellow light. Make up a gold. And it actually comes down to about right here. That. Get that dark burnt umber, come along the side. Crimp it right here. Black, burnt umber, and some of my yellow gold color. Just put in the light gray first. Get my white and unbleached titanium and try to very small little lines, just try to all go down in to this point. And I'm just trying to follow that arc there. That I drew. Okay. And then again, there's a little bit of a shadow where they go down in. Okay, let's try that again. A little bit of a shadow where they go down in, get pinched right there. Get a little bit of black instead. Right there. Get some of that yellow gold. Some streaks down in there. Put our highlights across where it's crimped. Again, because it's metal, we can kind of have just straighter lines, less blending. Get some yellow there. Right where it's crimped, there's a little bit of a highlight, and then there's a highlight kind of on the other side of that. Right. And I'm not sure what's going on the body of it, so I'm just going to get some unbleached titanium with that burnt umber and just kind of do a light highlight down the body of that. Get a little bit more of the black and sort of outline the edge of that. I'm going to come back to that one because I need to do a little bit of burnt umber right here, and then we'll finish these other ones and come back to it. Okay, get the black. And my white. This is turning out to be more complicated than I expected it to be. There's a lot more detail in here than I noticed at first. A bit of black. Get some black. A little bit of the white, unbleached titanium, and right here, this is all just little tips of brushes or hairs right here because we're seeing the inside, so I'm just gonna dab little white bits all through the middle of this. Kind of do your ellipsis, whatever, little tiny dots. All in there, and then on the outside do our little hairs. And these ones that are close to the top will connect to the dots, and the rest of them are just inside, and that's all we're seeing is the little dots. Okay. There's some browns and things too in here. So let me get some burnt sienna. And a little bit of yellow oxide. I think this comes down a little bit more. Okay. Getting the black and just going in the opposite direction with the black. Okay. Using this black to do some of the shadow effects on our brush. Some of the reflections, really. And then down here is light blue. Get this same light blue that we were using over here. It's coming in front of this brown brush. And we're seeing it through the glass a little bit. The select brushes are a little bit more teal. Get a little bit more of that cobalt teal color. And I'm going to make it deeper. Get a little bit of the phthalo blue, phthalo green. Go darker with this inside the jar where it's shadowed. Green glass will be affecting it too. It crosses behind this other brush here. And ends right up in here somewhere. We are so far over. Hey, not even funny. We're not even close to ending. Sorry, honey. You're just not. Mark's gonna head off to bed. I'll still be working on this. I'm gonna put a little bit of the teal in here to get some white. Okay. A little bit of that brown. Just a bunch of little tiny lines and highlights and things. on this one yet. This is where I'd just be like, okay, well, you can figure it out from here. Wouldn't do that to you. Mark might, but I wouldn't.
It would have been a black line and a red line and a blue line with some daubs on the top and say, there you go.
Good enough.
It's impressionistic.
Yeah, I didn't go impressionistic
No.
with this at all.
No, you didn't.
I meant to, but I didn't. I lost it in the jar, and then too late. It was too late to
You went into the
back
ditch.
out. I was in it. I was in it for the long haul. Going a little bit teal here, just picking up the colors that are around this and using those in the shadows. This is supposed to be gold. It's got a really dark brown right down the center. And let's do the golden Taklon, golden wheat color brown bristles here. Just do like a super long and thin. I don't know what this is, but we're doing it. Get some brown burnt umber here. I'll make that gold just a little bit taller on the ferrule. Bring it up to about right there. Okay. Get some white. I like these. Is anybody still watching at all?
Yes, they are.
No. Was it Robin was saying she was excited for this one? I can't remember. In the chat.
I think so, yes. Can you?
Hopefully we'll have some of you try this. It's just a lot of steps, but I don't know. I mean, it is one of the more complicated ones for some of the shadows and highlights and things that are happening in here, but and I'm not getting to explain it as much as I would like to because I did too much talking at the beginning of the video and now I'm having to hurry and finish this. So I apologize for that.
Well, not that hurry for me, maybe for yourself, but
What do you mean it's all right for you?
See, you don't have to hurry for me.
Oh,
You can hurry for yourself if you want to, but don't hurry for me.
oh, okay.
I'm here with you. I
Okay.
won't go anywhere.
All right.
I know where the snacks are.
Just might have to go straight to bed from this,
Well,
but
that's fine.
Mark goes to bed at 9, so, because he's up
But for
well before anybody should be.
I may get up about the time some people go to bed.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just theoretically.
Theoretically, that might have happened a few time or two last night. May or may not have gotten like 5 hours sleep last night, but it was worth it. Every now and then the book is too good. You just have to keep on going. So be sure, you guys, if you are interested at all in buying any of our paintings, that you go to my website and check out our newsletter. I should have mentioned that earlier when we were talking about the sale. If you go to our website and sign up for our newsletter, we'll be sending out the links to the sale when it starts on Etsy this week. On Sunday. So maybe technically next week. I don't know. So be sure to check that out.
Yeah.
And when you sign up for the newsletter, you also get some free goodies like a color chart and different things you can download. So
Any chocolate?
no chocolate.
No. No. Okay.
That rules you out. You're like, I'm out. You already get it. You already get my newsletter, so like it or not.
Yeah, I do actually.
No, I don't know why I pay to send you an email. Oh well. Whoops. Fuzz this out a little bit. Give it a fuzzy texture. Fun, fun, fun. All right, we're almost there. And then we've got to do our letters and finish our glass reflections, but we are almost done with our brushes. Just taking off my chalk marks here. Okay, let's go ahead and use this white, a little bit of black. Do our angle brush, one of my favoriteest brushes. If I had to pick like one brush to do everything, and I just, going out on a desert island and one brush, I think it would be the angle brush, because you can do flat stuff, you can do round stuff, you can do lines like a liner brush, it's so versatile.
So I guess we can think of the UK as kind of like a desert island.
Well,
And just bring one brush.
yeah, but I don't have it in a travels brush. That's the thing. They don't make it in the water brushes. That's just a shame right there, because if they did, I would be all over it. So that's why I'm thinking I'm going to bring my brushes in a rolled up thing, or some, at least some, because there's a couple of them that I can't, that aren't water brushes that I need to bring. Okay, this goes down to about right there. And then the handle is that distinct, this is that brush right here. So that color is where the magenta comes in. I'm thinking maybe burnt umber. Let's try it, see how close we can get to this red. Might need to add a little bit of black. Maybe burnt sienna. It's a little bit more reddish, like true red. Okay, we're getting closer now. Well, I might need a cadmium red. Thought I could get it with the magenta, but I might not be able to get it as, I don't know, we'll see. Let's add a little bit of white. Use the white with the red to make it cover. You can see how it widens out a little bit right here after it comes out of the ferrule. All right, we're well over time. We are in overtime, folks. This one is in front. Again, just doing this kind of watery. And I'm trying to see this. This one went behind. This is this one. This is this one. And it's behind it. Okay. There we go. A little bit of cadmium yellow just to give it a little bit of a bump in redness. Make the highlight a little bit more orange than red, or orange than pink, I mean. All right, that's not bad. Close enough. Get that dark red. Go along the sides and shadow the sides with that. Alright. And then our final metal. Why didn't I just do all these ones that were all black? Got all these metal things to do. Different colors even. Some are silver and some are gold. Could not make it easy on myself. I did not notice how complicated this one was, or I would not have done it as a Tuesday night. That is for darn sure.
One last bonus video.
Yeah. Yeah. What a joke. Speaking of, we did do our last bonus video this weekend. Turned out good. I liked it. I'll show it to you in a minute. We do special calm bonus videos with our patrons. I'm still doing the challenge videos with the higher tier, the $15 tier. We meet every Thursday, and we just decided we wanted our weekends free, so we're not doing our bonus videos anymore. We've got enough traceables that, and we announced it last year, so it's not like something new. We announced this well in advance so patrons would know it was coming. But we're starting a new series. We're going to be doing beginner level series where I'll be recording videos and posting them with homework and stuff. It'll be a little bit more targeted than anything that I've done on YouTube. A little bit more in depth for those who are, just starting out or want, a refresher for what, learning to paint with acrylics. All right. Really bright highlight here on this one. I am not going to do the lettering on there, but I might do down here like I did on this brush. Just a little jaggedy line. Let me go back in and give the hairs on this one a little bit more detail. So I can see where like that one needs to be visible right here a little bit. That didn't quite cover it. these need a little bit more shadowing down in the jar, so like where they overlap and things like that. Get some of that dark red and just like, you know, make that part a little bit darker right there where they overlap. Shadow that blue one the same. Get the dark black. Shadow on that one. Coming down. I'm kind of already shadowed this one, but we can do a little bit more on the bottom of it. This one where it kind of crosses behind, maybe darker. Okay. Get a little bit of white, some blue. Come on, everything's drying up. Do a little bit of white with along that side of that. Little highlight right there. I'm sure there's things that I'm missing because we're, you know, trying to finish before 10 o'clock. Let's go ahead and put some highlights kind of coming across the front of the jar. That'll help push everything in the jar back. So get a little bit of that white and some glaze. And I've already kind of done this, but let's just go ahead and, you know, reinforce that there are bright highlights in front. There. And then in the jar, there's like a meandering highlight that kind of goes across right here in front. Sort of starts up over here and just sort of crosses over all of this, follows this curve. But it's just like a wiggly line. It sort of ends right in here. Then there's some highlights coming across. And this will just help push everything back. Make sure you've got a little glaze in your white though when you do this. Oh, and don't pick up your red on accident. Two helpful tips. Mark and I were watching a show where the guy, it's a cooking show, and he's one of the guys on the Bear. If you watch that show, The Bear, and he is a chef and has his own show. And he was cooking hard-boiled eggs on the show, and he cracked one open, but like it missed his mouth and got raw and just got all over his clothes. And I was like, that's where I would reset and start over, but then I was like, well, maybe not, because this is I don't get a reset here either, you know. There are times where I'm like, oops, reset. Wish that could be deleted out. It's there forever. He just went with it. I thought that was great. He was hilarious. That was so funny. I mean, so much funnier than if he had not had that in and we didn't even know. So a little bit of green kind of just coming around, creating those wobbly reflections. And then get my little liner. This is, I might regret this, but I'm going to try to do the lettering. We'll see. Mark's like, really? Really? It's already half an hour after.
It's okay.
And then just that. Going in with the darker, and then I'm going to go in with that highlight color and just sort of go on either side of that darker line with some highlights. I think it'll work. Trying to keep it pretty faint so it's not super obvious. Like I'm not going in with super thick paint here. It's very translucent, just like the real glass. And there. And then there's some lines down here. I'm not gonna draw in the rest of that. I'm just gonna do
You got some water or paint on the gray.
all right. I think there is more of the dark color on the inside of this than I have. Of course, this is not when I want to be adding it, but I'm going to. Right in here where they come down. And right at the bottom of the jar, there's just kind of a dark color. That teal color coming across, and I'm going to use that same dark teal, just kind of where the brushes come down. There's just like a darkness down here. right, I'm gonna have to stop there for tonight, but I hope you guys try this. It is a little bit more complicated than I had originally intended it to be, but
Well, you did you.
I did.
You started off with a very, well, not very, but a more stylized photo, and then brought it realistic, because that's what you do.
I know.
Like, this is what I want to paint, so I'll paint this instead.
I know. I even made that, filtered the photos so I couldn't
Do this.
do this, but I did it anyways.
That's
All
okay.
right. There we have it. Super chat.
Yeah, we got a super chat tonight. We got a super chat from Angela. Says, thanks for all your insight.
Evenings with you two are fun and relaxing. Oh, thank you, Angela. Super fun.
Yes, thank you very much.
It is. I'm so glad that you feel that way, because we feel that way too. We really enjoy getting to do these with you guys. I'm definitely going to miss our live streams while we're gone, but I hope you guys still stay in touch and leave comments and all that
Yeah,
when we're on the road.
I think we need to try to do some Facebook Live stuff
Yeah, I think I was thinking that too. We might
For the-
try to do.
for those people who are part of those groups. Mm-hmm. It'll pop up fun things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There will definitely be some behind the scenes on the, we're going to the Cotswolds, we're going to York, we're going to all kinds of fun places. So I want to do some, even if they're not live streamed, but, do some short videos of everywhere we go and be posting those on all my social medias and everything. So if you want to follow along with that and also see what I'm bringing and all of that, be sure to sign up in the description for go to my website and sign up for our newsletter. And then also you can go to our social media and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, join our Thankful Art group, and we'll be posting our travel updates in those groups. Usually we do more personal photos and things like that in those groups. Then I don't do those on Instagram. Instagram is just basically the paintings. It's kind of a business profile. The Thankful Art group is a little bit more personal and kind of more behind the scenes photos and things like that. So plus we've got a really great group of people that are in there, and they're painting along and sharing their work, things that we paint together on my videos. So we would love to have you join us, as long as you're nice.
Yes.
If you're mean, you get kicked out. So just warning.
We're grateful for most of you.
And those who we're not grateful for, you know who you are.
You know who you are. You may have brought it upon yourself.
I'm going deeper with my values here. I'm noticing just a little bit too flat. So I'm sure there's going to be 12 things that I see on this going, oh, dang it. As soon as we quit.
It's
today,
okay. But it's bedtime.
Yeah, it's bedtime. So we're going to end it for today and say thank you so much for watching with us tonight. Thank you for all your years of support if you've been a regular. And if not, you're new, welcome. We're really glad to have you join us.
Yes.
And hope you stick around and come back. We're going to trying to help give you inspiration, help you learn to paint, and have some fun along the way.
It's just going to get better.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.